Hey fellow golfers, I thought I would follow up my recent clips and tips with a top 10 pieces of advice and areas to focus on if you want to break 80, you want to move from being a mid-teens handicap to a single figure handicap, as I have managed to do. So what are the things that were very important for me to achieve that goal, and how did I go about it? First, let me focus on something Adam Scott just recently said, that if you want to break 80, spend most of your time practicing and improving your short game area. Your wedges, your pitching, your scrambling, your putting, your bunker shots. Those areas are key, and you will see with the PGA Tour, the European Tour, those who have managed to shoot up leaderboards, stay consistently in the top 10s, have significantly improved that area of the game. Be it a Victor Hovland or even Rory McIlroy, who always drove well and since has significantly improved his scrambling and his putting of late. So the first thing to highlight is good, consistent drives. Not necessarily the longest drives, but good, consistent drives, reducing the dispersion. You have probably seen one of my tips, which is to say that in certain shorter holes, maybe even par 5 holes, take a fairway wood off the tee as opposed to a driver, if you don't need to have the extra length of the driver. Keep it in play. But for good drives, a good posture and good setup routine and setup position is key to driving well. If you drive well, you're going to help reduce the score, and it allows you, at least in principle, the ability to attack the par 5s. Have a look at some of the other tips I've given on doing a baby fade, baby draw, just by adjusting your thumbs facing the target more or facing away from the target slightly to achieve that. Ball position is key, but also your tilts are key. I'm a left-hander, so my left shoulder should be well below my right because you're hitting up on the drive. And take it nice and easy. Nice and easy, even stopping at the top of your backswing for a split second before you come down, so you come down nice and easy and relaxed. Consistent driving. Second, consistent, good contact at the center of the club is really important as often as possible, because that's going to give you your cleanest shot, the most control of the ball, and the ball going in the trajectory direction that you have visualized and are trying to achieve. So both in your fitting, make sure your clubs fit you right so that you're hitting the center of the contact point often, and make sure that that's what you focus on, because even if you have a funny swing, you see people like Jim Furyk, who has a strange swing, but he hits the ball at the center of the face more often than not. One is always going to miss occasionally, so that's not the issue. The issue is trying to get a solid contact as often as possible. And one way to check that your weight shift is good in that respect is to hold your finish when you finish the swing. And if you're balanced and relaxed, then you're probably also going to be able to come through properly. So achieving good, solid contact is really key to good scoring with any clubs. Third, in order to have a low score, you're going to need to make sure that you hit as many greens in regulation as possible. For single figures, that really means getting 6 to 13 greens in regulation per round. And that's also key to enabling you to get the odd birdie to also help counter any good bogey. And I would suggest that, as I've suggested in other clips, you aim for the center of the green on the hole, or at least that part of the green that is away from trouble, so away from the bunker. Don't try to not short side yourself, or away from where the ball might slope off and go off the green. So play away from trouble, aim for the center of the green, and of course I'll come to putting shortly. Next, really important to minimize the number of 3 putts. This is really key. Putting is a key part of keeping your score down. And for that, you really ought to practice a lot of lag putting and focus primarily on pace. The line comes second. Get the pace of greens, get the pace of your putts down pat. Be able to always do your first putt, especially long putts, so that you're within a 1-foot circle of the hole. That gives you the best chance to minimize 3 putts. Let's move on to the next point, which is practice a lot of mid-length, 8 to 15-foot putts, trying to get as many of them into the hole as possible, very close to the hole as possible. The more conversions of mid-length putts that you can make, the better. You see somebody like Cameron Smith, how good he is at those mid-length putts, which is why he's today number 2 in the world. And he doesn't spend a lot of time thinking about it. He looks at the hole, he looks at the ball, he visualizes the shot, but he gets such superb pace, and that pace practice will really pay off. 6th, control your distance and your rollout on both pitches and chips. Don't forget, pitches tends to be higher trajectory, less rollout. Chips, lower trajectory, more rollout. But get to know your distances for pitching and chipping, and with either one particular club in each case or a couple of different clubs depending on conditions of the course. Both your landing distance and your rollout distance. That's the thing to focus on with your wedges and chips. My wedging has improved significantly, which helped me bring the score down, aside from the putting. And in particular, scrambling from the rough or near the green has helped. Improving that helped me considerably. 7th, learn to curve the ball on command. So you may need a baby fade, or you may want to have a baby draw. Not hugely, but slight baby fade, a slight baby draw. Not only for the dogleg holes, but even on straighter holes where you want to stay away from trouble. So you may want to aim slightly towards the trouble, but by having, in my case as a left-hander, a baby fade if the trouble is on the right, and then it brings it back into the middle, or the other way around. So learn to curve the ball on command, and what helped me to do that was keep all my setup the same, but just change where my thumbs were on the grip, a little towards the target in one case, a little away from the target in other cases. So I'm able to keep the rest of the swing the same, but vary the trajectory and curve of the ball. 8th, quite important, because it relates to scrambling and reducing mistakes, is distance control from bunkers. Do a lot of practice in bunkers. Obviously it'll vary if it's soft bunkers and wet conditions or firmer bunkers, and that's where your grind and your bounce is going to make a difference on your sand wedge or your lob wedge, if you use a lob wedge in your bunkers as I do. And learn different angles, learn opening the face, closing the face, try different shots and see what different distances you're getting with your bunker shot. Accordingly, learn distance control from the bunkers, because those are your saving shots, either for a par or a birdie if it's a par 3, and certainly the possibility of a birdie in a par 5. Ninth, focus on reducing the number of penalty shots or the number of mistakes. If you speak to a lot of top pros, they will tell you that it's not about the good shots you hit, it's about how good your misses are, how you can reduce your mistakes so that you no longer are racking up the score, getting a double bogey, going for the hero shot or going for that perfect shot, as opposed to playing safe, getting back into play, hitting the middle of the green, as the case may be. Take your medicine if you've had a penalty shot, or if you go into the woods or deep rough. And to help you with all of that, something that helped me a lot is I really mapped for my swing, for my distances, for my clubs, every hole shot by shot. So I knew that on a particular hole, if there was certain trouble on the left, I really needed to try and hit the shot on the right. Or if the bunker was 240 yards, say, I would take a 3-wood and be slightly shorter. Why? To avoid getting that penalty or avoid getting into trouble. So I mapped every hole and every shot. Good course planning and course management is key. You may pull off the odd great shot around a tree into the green. My advice is take your medicine, hit it back into play, try to get it to a distance where you know your next shot you're really good at. So if you're really good with that wedge shot from 110 yards, let's say, then if you're in the rough or if amongst the trees, see if you have an opening to do a very short shot back so that it leaves you that 110 yards into the green, which gives you the confidence with your scoring clubs. Finally, play for a good bogey. It relates to some of the things I've talked about before. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have a shot that goes off. Don't then compound the error or the bad luck with another poor shot. Play safe. Think, okay, I will go for a good bogey. And then if you're lucky from that shot that you hit on the third one and it happens to get close to the hole and you can save your par, fantastic. But play for good bogeys. That will limit your mistakes, and the odd birdie that you get will counteract the odd bogey that you make. So try to keep your mistakes down to a bogey as opposed to make doubles and triples. At the end of the day, I think what is clear is focusing on that whole short area of the game. Chipping, wedge shots, bunker shots, putting, scrambling, out of the rough, putting things back into play, good course management in relation to all of that is going to keep your score down, and you'll end up enjoying the game much more, being more consistent about your score, and extending as a result of your confidence and trust, extending your golf enjoyment and hopefully your golf life as a result too. Hope these few pointers have been helpful. See you on the flip side, my friends.